Good morning, my world of rogues. My name is Erin Rogoff, and I would like to welcome you back to my booktube channel. It's been an interesting few weeks with my grandfather's 80th birthday, the Asbury Park zombie walk, a weekend-long camping trip with my dad, and dealing with crazy customers at work. But I wanted to make this video of 10 reading quirks that I have, inspired by a Jessie the Reader YouTube video, which I love. Love you, Jessie. Oh my gosh. Starting with number 1, I read a book best at night due to insomnia, and sometimes I can't even read books in the mornings without 2 cups of coffee in my system. And if you think I drink too much coffee, my 91-year-old Pop-Pop drank 8 cups of coffee a day before he retired, and that was all caffeinated, not even decaf. Oh my gosh. And so when I'm with him and I'm drinking coffee, he's just like, hey, you get that from me. That's pretty cool. And I haven't bonded with my Pop-Pop as much as I would like, but we can talk about coffee, funny enough. Moving on to number 2, I read a book best in silence, sometimes without Tchaikovsky or Beethoven or Ludovico Einaudi music playing in the background, and I can actually get so wrapped up in the music that it's hard to pay attention to the book. And I'm a daydreamer, so if I'm like not doing anything, or if I'm in school and the teacher is reading out of the math textbook, I'm just like, okay, let me daydream about Spock, and then I'm like, okay, whole different world. And then moving on to another reading quirk, I tend to imitate characters' facial expressions to certain things when I read. Maybe that's one reason why I looked so strange in school, because if a character rose their eyebrow, I would try to do the same thing. I can't really do it now. Anyway, another thing is I tend to grind my teeth when I read cliffhangers. So thank you so much, Sarah J. Maas, when writing Empire of Storms. And thank you, Lindsay Rybar, author of Rocks Fall, Everyone Dies. Sense my sarcasm? I'm really bad at sarcasm, but if I'm sarcastic, then it gets even more confusing. Moving on. When I read a book, I must read up to a page number similar to the last page number of the book. So if a book is 370 pages long, I must read up to page 70 or reach chapter 7 by the end of the day. So that can be a really long process if the chapters are long, like in the Eye of the World series by Robert Jordan, because I can't compete with that. And then another reading quirk. Unless I'm the one dog-earing pages of books, I hate it when people do that. I know it doesn't really make sense, but to be human is to be human. To be human is to be illogical, so that's just me. And then it throws me off. Technically, like, okay, if I'm reading Nemesis by Brendan Reich, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this book is dog-eared. I got it from the library. Did I already read this page or not? And since I dog-ear pages instead of using bookmarks most of the time, I'm like, okay, where did I leave off? Because it's not like a movie. You can't hit scene selection and then press play. And then another thing is, it bothers me if secondhand books I buy at garage sales or books I borrow from the library have creased book covers or pages. It just seems to me like somebody didn't care to take care of a vital piece of literature. And the book can be really bad to me, but it can mean something to somebody else. And I've actually known a few people who say that when they go to the library, they will look for the oldest, most cracked, spined book ever, because that book has the best stories, or the ones most read. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that is something I technically would not do. Even though I hate judging books by the covers, I do that a lot, so that's just another quirk with me. So technically this would be a list of 11. Moving on. It bugs me a great deal when someone says they hate reading because they read texts on their phones, they read road signs when driving, they read the news online, they read magazines with articles about keeping up with the Kardashians. I could go on. No one hates reading. I am telling you. And then another thing is, I sometimes find myself in a no popular books phase, so I will only read books that nobody's heard of. Like when the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins came out, I didn't read it. When the Twilight Saga came out, I didn't read it. When the Life as We Knew It series came out, I read it because nobody I know read it. And then when I'm reading And We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallich, forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, when We All Looked Up appeared in the bookstore, I bought it and I've read it and nobody I know has read it, so I'm like, yay, I get to read something that might be popular in some time. So I don't know where this quirk came from, but it's just me. And then another thing, as a final footnote, is to relax at the end of a long day, my mom and I will have reading parties. That's sitting in the living room with tea for her and cocoa for me, and we will read till we can't keep our eyes open anymore. My mom usually crashes around 10, but I can stay up much later than that, and sometimes not even then. I mean falling asleep. Like, I can go, 24 hours without sleeping if I don't have, a Tylenol to make me sleepy. But anyway, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button to show some support, and subscribe to my booktube channel if you want more videos like this. Have a great day, my rogues!